The Joe Rogan Experience.
You know, the other day I was someone, I told Sam, not Sam Tripoli, the other guy, Steve Simone. I go, you see that girl? How old are you now? 48, whatever. I'm 53. You're never going to see that ever again. But you ever see like a nice looking couple now? Like he's 26 and she's 22 and they're both beautiful. She got perky little tits. She's banging. Her legs are suntan. And you're thinking to yourself, this little young savage must be going home tearing that pussy up. And you think back to your little 26-year-old in the afternoons where you take him home and rub him down and give him a good stab. And you come like 3 times, the whole fucking thing. That never happens no more. Like at this age, you look at that and go, that'll never happen. You ever think of that?
Yeah. Yeah.
The other day, all these guys are like, look at that young girl. Look, and I'm going, look at her. Look at her. That'll never happen again in my world, ever. I will never see a woman naked like that ever again. It's like you were saying. You ever go to people's houses and they talk and then they say shit for 20 minutes? It's like by Studio City where I live. Go to that coffee shop from time to time. You know what they were saying in there?
What?
The day after the Vegas shooter? The Vegas shooter was Sunday night. Do you know what these idiots were saying in there on Monday?
What?
That this had to do with women's rights and the abortions, and they just talk. This new breed of Gentiles, they just talk. That's all they do, is talk with big words to impress you. But they don't say shit. They don't say shit. 3 or 4 big words to let you know they're smart, and then they didn't say nothing.
Well, there's a lot of repeating narratives, right?
Oh, yeah. Every time, the new show I'm going to do, I'm buying one of those little tape recorders, and I'm putting them under these 6 fucking morons every day. Then at night, I'm going to do a show about what they discussed. Because this is 60% of America, what these fucking people are talking about. This is the idiots. The shit that comes out of their mouth is amazing. And you sit there and go, no wonder fucking ISIS wants to shoot us. Listen to these fucking dummies. Listen to what's coming out of their mouth. Women's rights? That's what they were talking about.
Well, what was their argument? They were saying that the guy,
shot
everybody.
Their argument is everybody trying to be smarter than everybody. It's just 6 people trying to outwit each other. It's like when you go to those fucking dinner parties you talk about. And by the time they serve the salad, you want to put a gun in your fucking mouth. Why am I even fucking here with these people? I could have stopped at Burger King and had a better fucking time. That's why I don't go to those dinner parties, because there's 8 people talk. And once politics comes up, you lose me, Joe Rogan. I don't want to hear about it no more. You lose me. You lose me. These new political people talking nonsense, you lose me. Move forward. Either impeach them, get a new one, or shut the fuck up. I can't. You ever put the news on anymore?
Well, it's definitely
first 20 minutes
on you.
He didn't send the check. He called her. What the fuck, man? Just tell, who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? There's got to be something more. There's got to be a seal stuck on a beach somewhere in this fucking country. Something more important than this shit every fucking day. So the politics is over in my world. Religion, I don't want to. You're not supposed to talk about politics or religion at those fucking things. But this new breed of Gentile, they just talk for the sense of talking, to see who's the smartest person in the room, and at the end of the day, they're all a bunch of dumb fucks anyway. I'm 54 years old. That always makes me laugh, Tom Segura. That's why when people say to me, like, I love thought-provoking comedy. Dog, if it makes you laugh, it's comedy.
Yes.
It's comedy. Stop with the fucking
Do you know
trying to
that
be start.
You almost hospitalized me one time from laughing so hard? Like, I don't know if you remember this. I'm serious. I don't even know if I could tell it. It was backstage. It was backstage at his show. We were somewhere, and you were like, "How's the wife?" I go, "Good." And I go, "You go, where is she?" And I said some city in Tennessee, maybe Knoxville or Nashville. And you go, "Nashville, '96." And you started the story about working a club, and you're like, I just riffed in between shows, some crazy shit.
Some chick who was talking, there was 20 people for the first show, Knoxville. It was a Comedy Zone show. I half booked it. Knoxville's a great little fucking town. Like a cute little Tennessee town.
Is it?
It's like hip. It's a football, like a college town. So I get there on Friday night, Joe Rogan. I'm headlining. I got 38 minutes. I just moved to L.A. and I signed with Creative Management, and they booked those rooms. So they were booking me out as a headliner. I was just dying slow death. So what they did was they put me in one-nighters that paid like $275 a night. They weren't bad. Clark, Tennessee, you know. And we go to this Knoxville for 2 nights, and I go in there, and you know me, dog, I'm fucking crazy. First night I go in there, Friday night, there's 20 people for the first show. And there's a girl, Joe Rogan, that's a 12, with a guy that's a 4. Okay? And it's her birthday, you know. Meanwhile, through it, she just turned 21. It's her birthday. Okay? Hi, happy birthday. What's going on here? You know, because once you start hearing noise, you have to react to it as a comic. And you go, what's going on here? You're 21. I said, you're very beautiful. And then she just went and ran with it and started talking about how her husband pimps her out. He would have fights on, and for $20 you could fuck her in the back room.
20?
The fights were on, whatever. I don't know. That on Fridays he would bring her to the construction truck.
Oh my
He would bring a
God.
truck with her to the construction site and put a mattress in the back. And at lunchtime, he would let her friends, and she's telling me this. It's like she's talking, and people are like just holding their breaths, like, what is going on here? This girl is beautiful, and this retard is just pimping her. So in between shows, I go upstairs to do a line or smoke a joint or whatever the fuck I'm doing. When I come back, I see her by herself, and we start talking, and what's going on? Oh my God, I had such a great time. I go, is that stuff true? And she goes, yeah. I go, show me the monkey. And she took me in the woman's bathroom, pulled down her pants. The girl had a monkey that was spotless. It nearly stunk. I ate it. I fingered it or something, and then she sucked my dick. That was it. I went back to my room. I didn't think nothing of it. I'm like, Jesus Christ, I scored. I go back for the second show. There's 8 people. But by the time I go back for the second show, Joe Rogan, she's sitting in the back. She's 21, and she's looking at me like this. She's fucked up. And 10 minutes into my spot, set, because I was headlining, she starts going, I sucked the comedian's dick tonight. And her husband's like, what are you talking about? And she's like, I sucked his dick, and he came in my mouth. He's like, what the fuck are you talking about? The cops had to hold him back, and he's like, I want my $40. That's all he wanted. He didn't care that his wife sucked my dick at this comedy bathroom.
Oh, my God.
When the cops came, he kept saying, man, somebody's going to get hurt if I don't have my $40. That's a $40 blowjob. Did you come in her mouth? Because if I wouldn't have come, it would have been like 20. All he cared about was the $40, dog.
So he told me that backstage at your
my
show,
God.
and I fucking started hyperventilating.
$40 for his wife. This is the world of comedy, ladies and gentlemen. This is the world of crazy fucking comedy.
Jesus. You think that's crazy?
What the fuck?
She's crying. Some other husband would have held his wife and said, you know, no, he didn't care. He just wanted the $40 for the blowjob. I didn't give it to him.
He's got rules.
Yeah,
you
he's
gotta give
stuck.
him that. He's got like a line in the sand.
This is crazy
He's got
shit.
a number. $40.
Comedy is a fucking crazy animal. When you sit at home at night and you think about all the shit we've seen, we've learned a lot.
I don't think I ever laughed as hard. Well, that's probably
on
the
that
second
road.
time right there.
On that road, we've
When you
learned
told
a
me
lot
that.
of things. You learn a lot of things about human beings. You learn a lot of things about individuals. You learn some. I remember I did American Home. It's a armed forces place in Idaho. It's part of the Triple Run. And as soon as I walked in and I had to go do a sound check, everybody kept looking at me going, hi, how are you? Have you met Sandy yet? And I go, no. And they go, and they'd walk away. You ever see, what's the movie with Eddie Murphy, when with Boomerang?
Yeah.
When he goes to the black chick's house, it's 80, and the butler keeps laughing. Remember, the butler would go, she wants to see you in the kitchen. He would go, because she knew she was gonna rape him. So every time somebody would refer to Shirley, they go, have you met Shirley yet?
Yeah.
And you go, no. And they go, oh, and they'd walk away. Well, Shirley, whoever the captain of that base was, the head of the base, she was his wife. And if a band came to town or a comedian came to town, she blew him. That's it. That was the rule. Like he would sit out there with his fucking military on, with all his shit, and clap. And she'd be in the back, Zukalamink, to the whole band. I mean, this is crazy. So I didn't know about this. She came over and started talking to me, and then she started talking, oh, you're Cuban. I dated a Cuban one time. He had such a big dick. You have a big dick? I mean, it was that quick.
What?
It was that quick. Like, she just gets to it. She's like 50. I was maybe like 31. She was maybe 50.
Wow.
And she just dropped behind the curtain, took the hammer out, and started suka la mink. I'm sitting there minding my own business, and all of a sudden somebody comes yelling for her, Shirley, Shirley, Shirley. Now, usually Shirley would get up and stop sucking your dick. Not Shirley. She moved her knees like I had knee on belly.
Right.
You know when somebody puts knee on belly, you're supposed to move this way?
Right.
That's what she did with her knees. She kept sucking and just kept moving this way. I tried to take it out of her mouth. She wouldn't let it. She's like, no, no, no. She wouldn't stop till, and they're like, Shirley, we're looking for you out here.
Man,
This is crazy shit.
I can't. I'm overstimulated. I feel like I need psychiatric treatment right now and an IV.
Oh, you just finish that fucking drink, all right?
Oh my god.
Suka la mink is the greatest thing anyone's ever said.
That is the best word of all time. Minke juice, suka la mink.
Suka la mink.
Well, it's minkia. But when they say suka, they cut it short.
What is the word? What does it mean?
Minkia means suck my dick. Minkia in the dialect of
suka la-
Italian. Suka means suck.
Right, okay.
You know, it's so weird how the more
Is
you
this
go.
Spanish?
This is Italian, Sicilian.
Really?
So the deeper you go down the boot, the more, is it closer to Spain or is it farther from Spain? The closer Italy is from Spain, when people from that area speak Italian, I don't care how fast they're talking, they can't put the wool over me because I can pick up every 4 words.
Oh, right.
So Sicilians say suka. What's suck in Spanish?
Chupa.
Chupa. You're in the neighborhood.
Right.
Suka la mink. When they say suka la minkia, like, well, what are you gonna do today? I don't know. I'm gonna go out and get my minkia sucked. But suka la mink is just the short.
That's your
short
second
version.
shirt of this show.
Suka la mink.
Sure.
And then you got minkia juice. It comes at you however you want it.
Him, he's when I think of the Cuban athletes, like Cuban super athletes, you think Yo Romero, right?
Well, the thing that is the most thing that he has about being a Cuban is that he's 38, and you don't really know.
Oh, you can't tell.
Nobody knows at all if he's 38. He could be 22, Doug. He could be sucking you in, and nobody really knows. We really haven't. Those birth certificates, they went away. You just pick an age. What do you want to be? 38. Done. You know.
Well, he competed as a wrestler for a long time, so they know he's at least a certain age.
No, I'm just teasing, but
I know what you're
there's
saying.
always something with the Cuban. I remember my mom died. I told my aunt, she goes, "How old was your mom?" 48. Fuck, she's been 48 for 10 fucking years. Because it's true. You don't know, dog. You never know these motherfuckers' ages. They won't tell you. That last fight, he fought fucking great, man. But
Did you see the one before that where he told people to not? He was trying to say, "Don't forget Jesus."
right.
But they didn't get it because he's got a thick Cuban accent, the thickest. So he goes, "Don't forget Jesus, don't forget Jesus." So people thought he was saying no for gay Jesus.
Okay.
Like there's no gay Jesus. Like Jesus isn't gay.
It could have been way worse, though.
But
Faggot
all he
Jesus.
was saying was forget.
Don't forget Jesus.
He was saying don't forget Jesus. He was just saying, I won. Don't forget Jesus.
You know why I didn't go to the weigh-in?
Why?
You know why I didn't go to that weigh-in?
Why'd you not go that way?
Because I would have gone off on him, that he would have beat up Jacare,
Right.
Luke, and Aldo and everybody in that ring that night. I know how to motivate Cubans.
Yeah.
Oh, with religion. They're radicals. man.
That's what you would do. You would just start talking about God.
I'm just talking about Ogun, the metal god of Cuba. And he
The
looks.
metal. Wait a minute. Hold on.
There's a god in
Hold
Santeria.
on.
There's a god Ogun, and he's the one he's the metal worker. He's the fucking built. When you go on YouTube, look for Ogun. He's always a big yoked black guy that lives in the jungle, and he only comes out when there's a problem. So if I would have seen Yoel Romero that day, I would have said, "Hijo Goon," and I would have got his blood going.
Oh my God.
I would have got his blood going and shit. Dog, I started doing that to Anderson Silva when I first met him. And I remember one day in the hallway, he couldn't take his eyes off me. People were talking to him. They kept looking back. What that motherfucker saying? Because it's big in Brazilian. That shit is big in Brazilian. So I would have started saying, oye, tú eres hijo Gun. Oye, Ogi. And then I would have started saying who my mother is.
Whoa.
Yo soy hijo la santísima caridad del cobre. Y te estoy diciendo que le tiene que meter leña. Yo te estoy diciendo que le tiene que meter galletazo hasta por gusto. They would have gone. Look at Ogun.
That's the dude?
That's Joe Romero. Look at him. That's
It
Ogun.
does look like him.
That's all black, muscular Cuban dudes that look like that. You fire them up, tell them they're Ogun's son, and they go
Sounds
fucking
racist
nuts.
somehow.
That's Ogun's son and shit. I'll get you fucking fired up with all
How
those
come I
images.
never heard this before?
Because this is huge in Cuba. Have you done the 23andMe or anything?
No, I need to do that.
You know, it's so stupid how a lot of people knock it, but when I read mine, I looked into it for a few days. And you learn about history.
Yeah.
You know how I have a little Chinese. What
Really?
the fuck?
You
Yeah.
have Chinese in you?
Yeah, because.
¿Tú tienes familia china?
No, cuando yo escupí en la botella, I spit in the bottle, la mandé a ver, you know. Just
Did you have any idea you had Chinese in you?
No, Chinese, because the Chinese made the first real thing. They found chickens in San Francisco that had that DNA from that Chinese. It's very. The worst thing you could do if you smoke pot is spit in a bottle and get the report back. That is a fucking nightmare once you realize who you are. Cuando tú mandas el papeleo ese que tú ocupas en la botella y te mandan para atrás. ¿Quién tú eres?
Sí.
It really messes with you for a couple of days. I was Russian Jew. I was Western African.
Western African?
Western African, which I always knew I'm Cuban. When you're Cuban, you're fucking African.
Wow, right.
When you see a Cuban, it's a black dude that speaks Spanish.
Yeah.
That's it. They're just black dudes that speak Spanish. They're Africans, okay?
Yeah.
So I knew that there's African blood. And the top, it's not Spain. They call it something else. It's Spain and something else up there. That's where... so they went all the way around, and the last little bit is Russian Jew. Like 2%. God knows where you get that from. But here's the problem. If you're Native American, it can't give you an Iberian Peninsula. That's where we're really from.
Wow.
Now,
Powerful, Jamie.
But if you're American Indian with that thing, they can't. Like my wife's American Indian. I see her grandmother.
Yeah.
I saw the grandfather, bro.
Oh, yeah.
They're fucking Indians.
Yeah.
Okay? The mother got the upper lip. That's where Terry gets the Indian fucking lip from. Doesn't read it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't read if you're Indian unless you're a couple of generations back. Estamos hablando de los indios.
Sí.
Que si tú eres indio, americano,
It doesn't read the Native American?
No, it doesn't read it unless you're 3 or 4 generations. Something kinky. You gotta ask my wife.
Okay.
That's why she don't buy into it. They didn't put me into Santeria to be a witch doctor.
Explain Santeria to people who don't know what
It's a religion that originated in Africa and Nigeria, and then the slaves brought it over to Cuba. They hid it from the plantation owners through Catholicism. So that's why there's a lot of cross.
It's kind of a mixture of African and Catholic.
Catholic religion. When I was 5, I was brought up to 148th Street, and this lady had a collie, a dog, and I loved the collie. I loved dogs, and I was allergic to them. So while I was playing with the dog, she would talk to me, and I fell in love with this woman. I fell in love with her. She was like my mother. And then as I got older, one day they asked me, do you want this? Do you want that? Do you want to get Elegua, which is the first one you get? Elegua and Ogun, Yo Romero, those are the first things you get, and you put them by your door, and they guarantee, you know, your safety. For me, it was health. That big black woman is my godmother, okay? And then after that, when I was 6, they finally said they were going to initiate me and my mother because my spirit took my father.
Wow.
So they wanted my godmother, they wanted me and my mother to be twins in the Santeria. So I made Saint on 148th Street and Broadway. But for me, it wasn't to be a killer or to be anything like that. I can't carry guns. I can't go in cars with strange people. I can't do business with 3 people. I can't say, I hope Jamie fucking gets hit by a car. I'm not allowed to say all those things. I don't use it the way in the late 70s.
Why can't you do business with 3 people?
Because 2 of them will sidle up against you. And that's the same thing that happened to me on my kidnapping. I robbed somebody with 3 people. I can't stay in anything. Look at my life now. Look at my life when I was snorting white powder. My saint in my head is control. Like, that's why I always wear a white T-shirt on Mondays. It's the day of the spirit.
What? You always wear a white T-shirt on Monday?
Look at my shoes. They're white on white.
Always?
When I step out of the shower, I walk onto
Only
a
on
white
Monday?
shower mat every day.
Every day.
Every day. I'm still very Santa-y in my head. And when I saw them ripping my mother's clothes off, I was about 5. I'm like, fuck you black motherfuckers. And I started running down Bronx Boulevard. They had to chase me and bring me back. I didn't want to do it. It's an all-night ceremony. It's all night on a Friday.
It's crazy.
All night
12
on
hours
Friday,
long.
12 hours long.
Oh, my
You
God.
sleep, and then Sunday is when they read your future to you. And then for a week, you just live in a corner, white. They paint your head, you're bald.
What?
So I had to go back to school on Monday bald with a hat. They said he's not allowed in here with a hat. My mother gave the principal a small nickel, and I was allowed to wear the hat from 9 to 3. But then at 3 o'clock, I had to go home and change into white clothes for a year. Not allowed
For
to
a
look.
year.
I had to dress in white. Not
For
allowed.
a year?
A year. So for my cause, I would just have to wear
Imagine the
white
dry cleaning
underwear,
bills.
white socks, and white T-shirt. Because I was a kid. I can't keep wearing fucking white every day. I'm ripping shit.
Right.
So now your hair has to grow back. So when I walk into, there's a ton of Santeria in L.A.
Really?
I don't deal with it at all because it's all the same thing like everything else in L.A. It's a bunch of white people who didn't grow up in it. And there's a hot black guy, and they want to really just suck his dick, and he's telling them about spirits. I saw a video today. And I'm like, shame on them. It's all confused. It's like those
Could
white
be.
chicks that suck that Hindu dick when they go to hot yoga.
Yes,
You know that guy that
yes,
got it?
Bikram.
Bikram
Yeah.
is a pig. He got a bunch of white chicks with hummus flavor in their mouth from sucking that Bikram dick. You know, well, he gets to me inside. You suck that fucking dead dick that smells like hummus chips. Listen, when I was a kid, man, I went to my buddy's judo school. I didn't join. I just went down there to see what it was like. And it was hidden in Union City. It was on 7th Street. But I knew that my stepdad played cards on 9th Street on Wednesdays.
Wow.
Okay, I knew my stepdad played cards down there. They played baccarat. Okay, and they'd gamble in this little club. And I had to be maybe 10. But because I grew up how I grew up, and with the numbers, I always had my eyes out as a kid. When I went to judo that night, at the end, I got in the bus to go back, and I noticed unmarked police cars. And I went home that night. And look, bro, you know me, dog. Get Christy Love used to be a show on ABC about a black chick that knew martial arts. They tried to capitalize on it with her sister. And she was good looking with an afro, and she was a cop. And she'd come in and do karate moves. So on Wednesday nights at 9 or 10 o'clock, you caught me at home watching Get Christy Love. And I'll never forget that my stepdad was leaving that night. And for some reason, I go, you going to play baccarat tonight? And he looked at me. He was getting dressed, a suit on. He had like the Billy Bat suit on and shit. Like, you're going to play cards with 5 men. Why are you getting dressed to the nines?
Right.
And I said to him, I said, hey, man, today I went down there to go to Martin's judo school, and I saw a bunch of unmarked cars down there. If I was you, I wouldn't go out to that. And he fucking just looked at me. He said, I love you, and he walked down the stairs. He got in the car, started it, opened the garage, bro. And 10 minutes later, I heard the car turn off, and the garage closed, and he came up, and he goes, I think you're right. And he made Sundays for me and him, and next morning, that card place had got raided. So now they would listen to me when I was a kid. I had these fucking morons under my spell, right?
Because that doesn't seem to make any sense to
I
me.
think some states look upon it like when I was a kid. The reason why my parents did numbers in the city is because they gave you a ticket in the city and a felony in Jersey. So wait a second, Joey. With all those degenerate motherfuckers in the tri-state area, what you're telling me is if you got arrested for gambling in New York City in the 70s and 80s, you got a ticket. The cop said, what are we going to do? I got 1,000 of these motherfuckers popping apartment buildings all over the place. If you went to Harlem in the 70s, it was all little bodegas and everybody took action. Whether it was numbers, the Knicks, the Brooklyn number, the Roosevelt number. Remember, there's 5 numbers that come out in fucking New York.
Did I ever tell you my grandmother got arrested?
Yes.
Yeah, for one of the numbers.
You run numbers. It's something that you do in the neighborhood. You become a part of it. You get accepted. Okay. For years, okay, everybody, well, I did, I don't know about you, once a month, even if I over-exaggerate, once a month, somebody would pull me aside and go, hey, man, you know anybody who wants sneakers? What do you got?
Yeah.
I got Converse. Okay, they usually go for 20. For you, I'll give them to you for 7. You don't even ask. You just know they're stolen. You know what I'm I'm saying? I'm not gonna embarrass you.
Right.
You come to my house. You're my friend, right, Joe? You come to my house. Joe, how you doing? This is kind of embarrassing. My cousin, he owns a store and he's having a sale on TVs. I know it's 6 o'clock. It's a little late, but they're Trinitrons. They're 400 brand new. I need 100. They're in a box with a warranty. Christmas is coming. You don't ask if they're stolen. That's a regular fucking day for a guy in Pittsburgh, Connecticut.
Is that more of an East Coast thing where people come to you with an open van?
Well, I'm not an open van. I'm talking not people, not strangers. I'm talking about Jamie. You know Jamie 3-4 years, and Jamie's got a cousin that gets watches.
Right.
He gets the best watch in the world, Malaconta. They're $52,000, but Jamie can get them for 22 cash. 22,000 and 20 goes to the guy, and Jamie gets 2 off the top. Are you gonna torture Jamie and embarrass him? Like, so when did you get this? Am I gonna get arrested? No. Give him the 22 grand and move on with your fucking life. Right?
Is that bad karma?
Who knows?
Buy stolen goods?
No, because Malaconta gets the insurance back from you, and they get it even higher. They get the retail back. They don't even get the wholesale, so everybody makes out.
Nice.
If you take it off somebody's watch and put a gun to his head, then you got to bump into something bad.
Right. The physical act of taking it from a person is different from
no matter
a
what,
truck
there's something
disappearing.
involved, but you don't have nothing to do with it. Somebody shows up at your doorstep. It's 2 weeks away from Christmas. What a surprise. You have the Nintendo game my son wants, or the PS3, or the PS. How much are those things brand new?
300.
How much?
300.
300 brand new. I show up at your house for $1.25 with 3 of them. You're going to take all 3 of them.
I know a dude who thought he was buying a stereo, but he's actually buying bricks. He got one of those stereo
Right,
back.
but he's a fucking half a Momo. He stopped at the street and bought it from a guy named Jamal.
I had a guy, I was buying pet food. I pulled into this parking spot. I got out, and this dude literally opened the van like he was going to take me in and fuck me. Like I was like some little kid. He was about to scoop up out of the woods. Like it was a molester. And I'm like, what? Like, what do you got? And he's like, stereos. You want to buy a stereo? I was like, this is the weirdest. He opened up the door like as people parked the car and like was literally like going, hey man, you want some of this? Like, what?
You're asking for trouble if you do business with one of those guys.
Oh, that's the most obvious shit ever. You know, he's just randomly trying to sell a stereo out of the back of a van. Like,
Now, what are these things that they do in whatever? Like the people go and they have, what are they called? Junkets here? When I was
press junkets?
No, I'm sorry. The thing off the fucking 5 that you always see in the movies and all the fucking Friday, they all go to a place and they buy stereos and Raider hats. It's
swap meet?
Swap meet.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, in L.A., it's a swap meet. In Jersey, they're called, what are they called?
Flea market.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Because when I was a
Thank you,
kid,
Jamie.
I used to go to where they used to do the bicycles, whatever, the streetcar races.
Yeah.
And next door to it, they had whatever was called. And you'd go there, and they had pretty much shit that was stolen. It was just a festival, and they charged a table fee because everything was 50% off, even the sneakers, I remember. And then we found out that the guy would go to the fucking factory and jump over the fence and take all the sneakers that were mistakes. So the irregulars, they would take those and just sell them at those
Swap
flea
meets.
markets, swap meets. And then we found out, we cut into his action. I swear to God, we cut into that action and the Banaka action. Remember those tubes of Banaka?
Breath spray?
They would throw thousands of them out with the little things, like the chemical was off. You start blinking too much. Like the chemical would be off, then it was pepper spray, like real pepper spray, like people would spray it, and you see, what happened? It's not regular Banaka. What is that, tear gas? It was like the tear gas. And we had the Spanish kid that was half retarded, and we'd make him jump the fence, and we'd have thousands of tubes. And we'd sell them for 50 cents a piece on Monday in the 6th and 7th grade. Hilarious. But there was always 3 kids that complained. There was a little, like the chemical imbalance was all.
I don't know. I mean, syphilis kills you. I'm pretty sure syphilis kills like everybody that gets
What's
it.
VD?
Venereal disease.
But that covers everything.
Well, it's weird because venereal doesn't sound like sex, but that's what VD is. You know, VD is a sexual transmitted disease. When you think about someone having VD.
When I was about 17, my friend fucked his sister's best friend, and he got something.
He got VD.
He got VD, and we went there the next day, and there was a chick with like fucking like a Phantom of the Opera mark on her face. Dog, it was fucking crazy.
What was the mark on her face?
Like she had like syphilis or something
Oh,
that
my
started here.
God.
Like she had a cut in her lip, and she sucked a fucked up dick or something. And it ran. I'll never forget this. It's not even funny. It was really sad because I didn't know what she had. I just went there with my friend. My friend goes, "You got to go in there with me, dog. I'm scared to walk in there." Whoa. I said, "Let's go. What's the big deal? They're gonna give you pills, whatever." I didn't know. I wasn't sexually active at that age, like he was. And we went in there. While I was waiting for him, dog, this chick came in, did paperwork, and she turned around, and she had gotten something that started here, like she had like a cut or what's that when you have chapped lips or something. And all this was like half purple and red. She sucked something bad. And after that, I was like, "Ooh, I got to be careful out there. It's a jungle."
That was the thing when we were kids. Like, someone has VD. She's got VD. Be careful, he's got VD. You know, someone having VD was like, "Whoa, you hear? Do you hear? Betty got VD. Ooh, that fucking girl got VD."
There's
Then
a
it
girl
became
on Facebook
STDs.
that's friends with me from high school that her pussy wouldn't get wet. So they used to call her the dry hump, Fairview, New Jersey. They used to call her Fairview, New Jersey, the dry
That's so awful. That's so fucked up. People are so fucked up. People are so fucked up.
This girl was banging. This girl was fucking banging, though.
So you'd have to like bring Vaseline or something?
Yeah, she was from Wayne, New Jersey, and she was banging. She moved to North Bergen, like, and she was a sophomore. And she was dating a few guys and shit, and things happened. Like, I was friends with her. I knew she didn't like me. Like, she just didn't like me for some reason. I didn't think the world of her either. And one night in '84, I'm at a bar, and this bitch comes in, I mean, banging. 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 They also said she had some type of VD, so they called her Lori Jack. You know, like, she's got the jack.
No, what is
Remember
that?
AC/DC sang a song.
Oh.
She's got the jack. Jack. So they used to call her name and Jack. Like, that was her name. Like, they just tormented this girl. Oh. And she dated, like, a rock guy that had, like, long hair and
rocker.
shit. And one night I saw her. And Rocky. And she was banging Joe Rogan, right?
Yeah.
Banging. And I go, "You live in North Bergen now?" She's like, "Yeah, I didn't go to college. I'm a nanny. I'm a nanny," and she told me the guy's name. And I knew that guy. That guy had a massage parlor years earlier. The guy that she was being a nanny for. And I go, if she's his nanny, he's just fucking her. Something's got to be wrong. She looked so good in that miniskirt. She disappeared like 1:30. And finally at like 3, I'm sitting and I'm like, what am I going to do tonight? And I had like a bag of Coke. I go, fuck it. I'm going to go get her. So I went to, this is how crazy I was. I went to the dude's house, who she told me. I knocked on the door. It was 3:15 in the morning. And he's like, "Coco, what are you doing here?" I go, "I got to talk to Lori. There's something missing." He goes, "Hold on, Lori?" And she came down, and she comes outside. He's got a robe on. She's got a robe on. And I look her straight in the face. I go, "Listen, I got like 2 8-balls in my pocket. Get dressed. Let's get the fuck out of here." And she's like, "I can't." And I go, "You have to." And we argued there for like 10 minutes. I'm like, "I want to suck your pussy. I want to do dirty things to you. I don't give a fuck about the VD or the jack or the dry hump. I'm on fire." And she's like, "Well, give me 10 minutes, and how am I going to sneak out of here? I don't know." So I waited outside for her. She's like, "I'll put Lou in bed, and I'll run out." About 15 minutes later, I see her running out with her purse with like a bank deposit bag. She's like, "Fuck him. I can't take him anymore. Fuck him." We were on foot. It's 4:30 in the morning. I'm on Tunley Avenue, North Bergen. There's a bunch of those dirty hotels. So I'm like, "Oh, I got a score here. I got Coke. She's got money. I'm going to fuck her. I'm excited." We go back to a hotel. We finally registered. It's like $30. They asked us if we wanted the jacuzzi in the room and shit. It was one of those dirty hotels on Tunley as you go into New York City. We went in there. We walk in, and she goes, "Rule number 1, you are not going to fuck me." It's 5 in the morning. There goes my fucking. There goes this night. And all of a sudden she looks at me. She goes, "Well, if you could guess the color of my panties, I'll fuck you." And I'm like, "Okay." "Red." And she goes, "They're green, but good enough." We started snorting coke, eating ass. I mean, it was filthy. I woke up at 5 in the afternoon, and Doug Flutie was throwing that quarterback, that touchdown. in 1984 or 83, Doug Flutie, I was waking up. She was naked, ripped apart. I'm waking up, and Doug Flutie's throwing the touchdown. I got dressed and got the fuck out and never saw her again. Never said and I even robbed the money. I took everything. She pops up on Facebook about 2 years ago, and I'm like, Lori, how are you? She's like, fuck you fat faggot, and all this shit. She's like, you left me there that night, but we had a good time. Fuck yeah, we had a good time. And I will hit her back. I go, what color are your panties? And she goes, what's that supposed to mean? It's fucking tremendous.
Hilarious.
I knew she gave me something. She had something. But I didn't give a fuck. It was 84. Rock Hudson was dying. I didn't use a condom. I knew the consequences. I'm like, fuck it. So I knew I was going to get something, and I probably did. I got crabs after that over the holidays. That was 84. I got crabs in 84, 85 season. I got crabs. I found out at a bathroom in Port Authority. I went to Port Authority to take a shit, and I pulled my pants down, and I'm sitting there reading the paper, and I see a crab. Like I saw something jump, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'd never heard it, nothing. I went home and took my underwear off and got like a magnifying glass. It was over. It was all over me. They were all over the couch. I had to bring a bomb into the room, like one of those fucking bug bombs, and leave for 12 hours.
Did you really?
Oh, I crabbed up the whole fucking thing. It was crabbed up for like a month, dog.
Oh, my God.
The lady next door knocked on my thing. I was living in Tenafly, New Jersey. Lady next door knocked. Do you have a bug problem? I'm like, no. I don't know what happened. Ever since you moved in here, there's been crabs and shit.
Oh, no.
Oh, the handle that I would hold. Remember the ones when you were in Taekwondo and they had the wood in the top and they had 4 inches of canvas and you would stand in front of it. And
Makiwara.
A makiwara.
Yeah.
And it would have like your knuckles.
Those guys would really
my
condition
God.
their knuckles.
We would save our money. We were geeks. That's what we did at 12. But then I had little goombas in my neighborhood. And when they were 12, they did something completely different. They went behind the school and they would roll one joint and put it in a piece of glass tube and light it up, and we would drink Boone's Farm, the fruit shit, and I'd get pukey. So I didn't know who to hang out with, so I would have to be like a double agent. That was a tough job for me as a 12-year-old. I liked hanging out with my karate geeks, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
I like going to competitions. I like doing forms. I like doing the semi-contact competitions where you couldn't kick above the head.
Yeah, those are good for kids.
But you don't like it anyway, but you still kick the kid and get disqualified. But fuck it, I kicked him in the jaw. Did you see,
People did that.
This is in life was simple for me. So I had to make a decision because the Kung Fu kids didn't get no pussy. They just weren't into pussy. They would talk about girls and they maybe had a crush on the girl in the 430 class, but they never asked her to come to any of the events. My other buddies were into pussy. So eventually I cut the karate fucking geeks out and I started hanging out with the little druggies, and you make your transition and from those developmental ages, like I tried to hide my drug use. I tried to hide it, especially the marijuana use. For 2 or 3 years, it was just marijuana.
Wow.
Then once I became a freshman, I didn't start basketball my freshman year. I decided let's venture out into this acid thing. Let's venture out into this mescaline thing. Ooh. It was a different name. It was mescaline, but it really wasn't mescaline, Joe Rogan. It was a little tablet.
Peyote?
No, it wasn't even peyote. It was a little thing.
Aren't they the same?
Excuse me?
Isn't it a similar compound?
Peyote, yeah. But mescaline is what they sell you in the South.
Right.
They supposedly put it in tequila or something.
That's mezcal, right?
Yeah, this is something that 2 little fucking white kids made in a pill. It was rat poison with something else, and it was very tiny. It was maybe the little size of this. That's it. And it came in aluminum foil, even smaller than that.
Wow.
Even smaller than that. Way smaller. That little thing, that's it. You paid $80 for it, and you got 100 of those, and you sold them for $3 a piece. And that would fuck you up for 6 hours with a 2-hour haze in between, an hour buffer and an hour to come down. And I did that for 3 or 4 months. Then they introduced me to THC Crystal, which is snorting. They sold it as, what we do is we get a bunch of stems and seeds from the reefer. We put it in a pot, and we boil that pot. and whatever separates from the stems and the seeds that goes to the sides, we scrape that off, and that's what you snort in your nose.
Oh my God.
So I had like a personal karate rule that I would always just smoke it and do the mescaline, but I was never gonna put nothing in my nose.
Oh, you had a rule like a drug addict put something in their nose.
Right, like that's it. Like that's a complete different range. I'll never shoot heroin, and I'll never put
Especially
nothing
as
in
a
my
karate
nose.
man.
As a karate man, I had karate morals.
Yeah.
I was just straight away with the reefer. And then I finally ended up snorting that fucking Gorilla Biscuit shit. Because that's what it was. It was angel dust. They
Oh
just
my
they
God.
just told you. And I went on an angel dust tear. Like every Sunday, me and my friend Carlos Perez would buy a 6-pack of Michelob. He only liked Michelob. Here's to good friends. Tonight is kind of special. The beer will pour. Must say something more. Yeah. Call it tonight.
Oh, that's Lowenbrow.
Yeah, Lowenbrow. What are we talking about?
Michelob?
Michelob. No, we
Different
would drink.
one, right?
We would drink Lowenbrow.
Lowenbrow. Oh, that one.
We would get a 6-pack of
Did I get it
Lowenbrow and fucking snort a $10 package of THC crystal. My mother would go to the track on Sundays, so I knew she wouldn't come back till 7. So me and him would snort it. As soon as my mother stepped foot in that car at 11, me and him would have it, and we'd snort it, and then fucking just sit around like and be fucking zombies all day.
Yeah.
But that was a development, and then I went after my mom died. I just went on an acid tear for fucking a year, all different types of. God knows what was in those goddamn things. God fucking knows.
Yeah.
And then, I start like seeing things like, oh, this is like your mom's house bit. I need to send it to Tom.
Yeah, you
Like,
sent me a couple good ones.
I can't tell a story about taking a shit without 90 people hitting me up the next day telling me that was the most brilliant story in the world. We're going to send it to Tom Segura. Anytime I tell a shit
I know
story,
I'm the shit comic. It's
or
awesome.
I fart myself or something disgusting. And 2 days later, sure enough,
I'm
you're playing
serious.
the fucking YouTube video.
That's true.
And
Of course,
howling
yes,
with
we-
your wife.
it's
I'm
true.
howling. I'm like,
We
these
played
fucking-
Joey telling shit stories for sure. And he told us about when he shit in his backyard and somebody thought a bear had come.
I never forget the lady. She would she would let her dogs out every day at 5, and then she would clean up. They were all French poodles.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're
I
like
can see
little
the dogs,
It was
asses high up in the air, were just reeling back from the shit. Like, what the fuck?
she
It's a
went like
mountain of
this.
shit.
Joe Rogan. She looked at it, and she was like 58, so she squinted at the shit up against the wall. But here's what's beautiful: I took a shit and I put my back against the wall. So when I shit, when you shit outside, it's not going to be a decent shit.
Yeah.
It's going to be like explosive. So when I got up, it looks like somebody got shot in the head. There was shit all behind me on the wall. So she's sitting there with her little French poodles and her little chihuahuas, and she's looking at the wall like, what the fuck happened there? And all of a sudden, she actually walks up close to it and squints and looks down on it and looks around and runs in the house. I'm watching all this. I can't breathe. And now I go to the computer because my wife's very decent. And I'm sitting there for a half hour. And then my wife comes in and she goes, were you home all day today? I go, yeah, why? She goes, I just had a conversation with Susan. She wanted to know if you heard anything in the backyard because some animal took a shit back there. I went to get sushi. Like, you ever go get sushi and eat a lot of it? And the rice pushes everything out of your ass.
Yes.
And you had plans to go get a weed store. You were going to go to the post office. But I made a detour. I planned to go home, but I left the house key in the house. So I had to climb around the window. That's what happened.
Yeah.
So when I pulled myself up, I actually landed with my stomach on the window.
And now you really got
Which
shit.
made it push it out more. Like and I'm fatter than fuck, and my hands are struggling in the window, and my little fat feet are on the other side, and the cats are meowing at me, scratching at me, right? And I'm like, it's me, you fuck. And so I ran down the stairs and shit outside. I couldn't get in the house.
Oh my
The
god!
best was the night I took a shit in Faberman's backyard after a 5-hour drive from Colton or some weird town.
Didn't he not talk to you after that for a
Yeah,
while?
for a while. I took a shit and then he ran over it with his car, and the whole backyard smelled like sewage waste. I go over there the next day. He goes, "It smells back here. Let's talk in the house." He goes, I don't know what happened. And you can see the brown shit. He smushed it with this tire, and a bunch of flies were around. He didn't talk to me for a month after that. Who takes the shit in somebody's backyard?
How did he find out it was you?
Because I told him the truth. I felt bad. What am I gonna lie to the guy?
Yeah, there's a time when you know that it's, and the sensitivity of your inner asshole region is amazing.
It is. It knows.
Yeah, especially when you go to seep out a fart, right? When you're like about to cut a fart, and then all of a sudden alarms start going off. You're like, oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. And you got to clamp shut. You're like, Jesus, what is this?
We were having this debate yesterday about why are they sometimes hot? Like, why is it hot? And then why do you know that hot's gonna smell bad?
Spicy food, bro.
But is that what it is solely?
I would imagine.
I don't know. I remember I was telling you guys that one time my freshman year I didn't take a shit for a week and a half. I was addicted to steakums with American cheese and a ride of French fries.
Wait a minute.
Listen to me.
How long is that? 10 days?
That's a long time, man.
When I was
How
a
were you
freshman,
alive?
I played freshman ball, and we were playing Patterson East Side. That's just a jungle of a school. Like, you got to be careful when you go in there. And we went there to play the Christmas tournament.
Wait, what kind of ball are we talking right now?
Basketball.
Oh, basketball.
And I hadn't taken a shit for like 10 days. I was backed up something. I took acid, something fucked my stomach up. I didn't tell nobody. In those days, I was really scared of doctors, and I wouldn't say shit to nobody. And on the way home, we got on the bus. And while we were waiting there, my stomach started hurting. And I said, Jesus Christ, I don't know if I'm going to shit myself or fart, but let me just take a chance.
Good move.
And I blew this fart, Joe Rogan. That was so bad, right? We were on a bus, and people started running, the school buses? People started running to the windows, right, to swing down the bus windows. But here's what gets better. I farted again, and the teachers were going, oh, my God, he's changing flavors. But the worst thing was the cheerleaders were crying. That's how bad it smelled. They were sitting in front of the bus going,
Wait a minute. He's changing flavor.
One of the teachers yelled out, oh, my God, he's changing flavors. That's how bad these farts were.
That's your next T-shirt. Oh, my God, he's changing flavors.
The whole bus stunk. But I'll never forget looking at the cheerleaders, and they were like, oh, my God, we've never smelled like this before. It was fucking god-awful.